Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the fantasy football injury and ranking updates. So, for the first time ever on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be giving you guys an update on my rankings from prior in the week. On Mondays, I give you guys the waiver wire update on who you should target when it comes to picking up players and perhaps even dropping players. Then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and sometimes Friday with those gauntlet videos, I give you guys players that I specifically rank, players that I think are going to be sleepers throughout the week. And, I go over the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And I thought to myself over the last couple weeks, it must be difficult for those of you who come in, working tough jobs, and by Sunday, you're watching let's say, for example, Sunday morning, you pull up, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch Andrew's running back video that was made on Tuesday. From that Sunday to Tuesday span, there is a lot of information that comes out, whether it comes to, player trades, just like this past week, injury updates, specific things that come out, whether a player is going to get more snaps over another. That kind of news is something that I wanted to just keep you guys updated on. So in that specific case, besides talking about specific injuries today, I'm going to be giving you my ranking updates at every single position that I usually go over. So without further ado, before we begin, I just want to go ahead and thank all of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Continue to support. I appreciate all the support, and I will continue to put out content that you guys can be proud of and enjoy on a weekly basis and help you guys succeed in fantasy. So before we begin, hey everybody, how's it going? All right, I just wanted to address you guys really quickly, talk about a couple ideas that were going around in the comment section. A couple of you have brought it to my attention that perhaps maybe on Sunday mornings, I should be doing a specific live stream on my YouTube channel, answering questions in the live stream chat. You guys will put questions in there, and maybe an hour before the first Sunday game, which usually takes place at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 1 Eastern. But as of right now, I just wanted to get a scale. How many of you would be interested in that? Do you guys think that would be helpful to have a Sunday morning live stream in which I answer your guys' questions? I know there's many of you and there's many questions, and many of your questions are usually already in the comment section, but just let me know. Go down to the comment section right now if you are interested in such a thing. Let me know how you guys would, what do you guys feel about it? Is it something that you think is necessary and would enjoy, and or maybe perhaps you're just not interested and the rankings are good enough and they suffice? Other than that, I've also heard a couple people say, Andrew, maybe you should start talking about defenses a little more. Maybe talk about like streaming defenses. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this enough, because honestly, I don't talk about defenses that often, but I might as well let you guys know. I personally, my tactic, I stream defenses every single week in every single league I play. Now, is that a personal choice? Yes, absolutely. When I get to the draft, I'm not going to overspend for a defense. I won't even sometimes draft defenses. If you have been with me since the preseason, I've been preaching, you don't draft kickers or defenses sometimes ever in your drafts, and you go pick up guys off the waivers before, the Monday of week one, right? That's just kind of my strategy. So I stream defenses every week. Let me know. Maybe I should add at the end of perhaps the wide receiver videos when it comes to rankings, maybe at the end of the quarterback video, my thoughts at the streaming defense of the week. Maybe I'll add it to the waiver wire video on Mondays. Just let me know. Would you guys be interested in something like that? If you have any other suggestions, go down to the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always, open to suggestion. I'm pretty new to this. This is a very young YouTube channel, and I'm just, starting to get the hang of it myself. So if you have any suggestions, go down to the comment section. Anything would be appreciated. I'm always here to learn and grow with you guys as my community. So let me know what you guys think going forward. So other than that, I just want to say, if you're watching this video at Saturday night, you are like me and you're at home because you're lazy. Oh my goodness, what just happened? Okay, so that wasn't a clean transition, but we'll take it. All right, so we are here. I'm going to talk about quarterback updated rankings. And I'm not going to go into it too deeply like I do in my normal quarterback video, because honestly, I can't be here all day And it's basically the same rankings. I'm just going to go ahead and mention a couple things that specifically has changed from that, Monday or Tuesday night video. So let's talk really, closely off the top. Patrick Mahomes is still my number one quarterback for this coming week. I've changed my number 2 to Matt Ryan and dropped Tom Brady to the number 4 spot. With the recent news injury of Rob Gronkowski not playing tomorrow, okay? That has to do with injuries. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as of right now, Rob Gronkowski did not travel with the team, and he is not going to be in Chicago this week for the game. So I'm going to downgrade Tom Brady just a tad bit, not too much. He's still a start, but when it comes to my rankings, he's taking a little bit of a dip, and also with the fact that Edelman is a little banged up, and so is Josh Gordon. Both of them have the questionable tag. I'm basically doing okay, it doesn't matter. That's just why I've brought Tom Brady down. I'm complaining right now because I had a whole entire section talking about injury news about those 3, and I basically just spoiled it. But either way, that is why Tom Brady moved down. I moved up Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins because I like their matchups. They were number 3 and 4 originally, 2 and 3. It's not much of a difference. They've just gone up a tad bit. But Tom Brady's the only big difference. I have downgraded Andrew Luck a tad bit because, while I was looking around, I saw myself questioning whether that Bills defense is actually legit enough to compete with the Colts. And I think there are arguments to be made for that Bills defense this coming week. They've been pretty damn good as of late. I know the Colts offense is extremely good with the return of T.Y. Hilton and Marlon Mack. Eric Ebron still stunting out there, making plays. So I've downgraded Andrew Luck just a tad bit to the number 7 spot, which he was originally at number 5. So I basically just knocked him out, put him at 7, and moved up Dalton and Jameis Winston, who are my 2 starts of the week for this coming week. Yes, for many of you, those who are asking, Dalton over Jameis Winston this week. Yes, please. The Kansas City defense is god-awful. So other than that, another change that I made to these updates, I had Jared Goff really low. And that was mainly because of my frustration with the Rams offense continuously stealing fantasy value from Jared Goff. I also had the same issue with Phillip Rivers, which good old Melvin Gordon had 3 rushing touchdowns last week, which easily could have been passing touchdowns, at least one of them, right? Giving him an extra value. And that didn't work, right? So those 2 LA running backs, they continue to take points from their respective quarterbacks. I had them a little bit lower. I have increased both of their rankings for this week. I have Jared Goff at number 8, making him a for sure start. So those of you considering it, Jared Goff against the 49ers has a great matchup. Aaron Rodgers was able to dice him up last week, and I think Jared Goff will be able to do the same. Number 9 and 10, we have Cam Newton, Carson Wentz, still within my top 10 quarterbacks of the week. So no, don't allow or sound any alarms. They're still fine to play. Phillip Rivers took a couple notches up to the number 11 spot. As I was mentioning, I may have overreacted with the running back situation. These, Jared Goff and Phillip Rivers are still fantastic quarterbacks that are going to be consistent, get 2 touchdowns easily, and especially because of how good their pieces that surround them offensively, defensively are, it is always going to make them fantasy relevant. And that's why they're in my top 12. They're still QB1s this week. To round up the QB1 conversation, we have Drew Brees that many of you have been asking me about. I'm just a little worried that playing in Baltimore against a very good defense, I'm not saying they're the best defense in the NFL. I'm just saying they're a defense that you have to respect and something that you just have to be careful about. They're not a defense that's going to be completely torn apart. Now, I say this now, but there's a possibility that Drew Brees comes out and has himself a career week. It's absolutely possible. That's why I reserved the right to put Drew Brees at number 12. He's still a QB1, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have him and he is the best quarterback on your roster, then you should absolutely start him, especially with all the bye weeks that are taking place this week. There's no Rodgers, there's no Roethlisberger, and there's no Wilson. So Drew Brees may be your best option, and honestly, I have no problem starting him this week. Matthew Stafford took a little bit of a dip. I don't know. Maybe it's a recency bias. We didn't see him play this past week, but I don't know. I'm just a little, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm thinking Matthew Stafford, he was ranked 10 prior to me shifting him down. I just like these other quarterbacks above him. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL right now. There's way more trash quarterbacks comparatively, right? But as of right now, for this coming week, I like Matthew Stafford. If he's your best quarterback, go for it. But I'm downgrading him just a tad bit, a little bit outside of that wide QB1 range as of right now. Again, everybody else following Trubisky, Baker, Flacco, and Eli, they are consistent from what my original rankings had. The only difference I made, okay, here comes the next bold prediction. I talked about CJ Beathard yesterday. I've talked about other quarterbacks in the past like Blake Bortles or Case Keenum or maybe even Derek Carr having big weeks. I don't know. I just had a feeling. Maybe it's the Cowboys fan in me that comes out a little bit at the end. But Dak Prescott this week coming off that pretty big game, there's a possibility he ends up doing something. Personally, I'd start him over Alex Smith. And I'd probably start him over Ben Roethlisberger, or not, excuse me, mini Ben Roethlisberger, a.k.a. Blake Bortles. And probably even Deshaun Watson, because I'm just a little worried about those guys. So I just threw his name up here. Do with it as you may. Anyway, let's just move on. Let's talk about running backs really quickly. Don't want to be here all day. The top 5 to 6 rankings, they're pretty much the same. I've only just taken out players that have already played. Really quickly, if you had listened to my rankings, right, from earlier this week, and you were able to watch this video, you would have known to start Phillip Lindsay. He was the start of the week. Had himself a fantastic game. You're welcome. And you would have also known to not start Demaryius Thomas because he was on one of my sits of the week at the wide receiver position. Dude didn't have a great game. Why? I mean, mainly because the game script got out of hand. I didn't expect that to happen, but that's a different conversation yourself. But he didn't play well. DJ, David Johnson. Guys, don't give up on him. Please do not give up on him. I understand the frustration at this point, but he's nothing to be given up on. They're going to, well, they have already fired offensive coordinator Mike McCoy, and they're going to have Byron Leftwich be the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals. He's a guy that worked in Bruce Arians' coaching staff. So as of right now, I think they're going to get back to, being a relevant offense, not something that's going to tear apart the league, but at least have some sort of semblance of knowing how to play. Right, they look terrible. That offensive line is embarrassingly bad. It doesn't help a young quarterback on top of it. Young quarterbacks like, I know I'm already gotten off track, but young quarterbacks like Sam Darnold, he has the opportunity behind a very good offensive line. That's why he's being able to be successful as of late. While Josh Rosen, unfortunately, is sitting behind a very, very, very terrible offensive line that just got shellacked the other night against a defense that really, prior to that game, was not playing well. Anyway, so back on track. We're at the running back position. 1 through 7, 8, 9, 10. They looks about the same. I moved Tevin Coleman up this coming week against the New York Giants. I think he has a pretty good opportunity. Here's the thing. Tevin Coleman hasn't looked great all year, right? And that's not a surprise. He's usually the third down back. He's the change of pace to Devontae Freeman's first and second down. And as of right now, there is a possibility that, that Ito Smith perhaps picks up the first and second down work, and Tevin Coleman ends up being the third down back again. But I doubt that. I think he's going to get continued workload, about 15 touches. I think the matchup is pretty good for him this coming week. I like the idea of having Tevin Coleman on my roster for sure as a start. Perhaps this may be a little too high, but honestly, with all the bye weeks that are taking place, there are a lot of running backs that could have filled in between these guys, dropping a lot of the rankings. But as of right now, he's a guy that I would consider as a pretty high-end RB2 and a low-end RB1 this coming week. So that's one of the bigger changes. Otherwise, James White, Tariq Cohen. Okay, the next guy I want to talk about, Kerryon Johnson, right? My goodness. Okay, here it is, guys. This is the week. We've gotten to the point. He plays against the Miami Dolphins this week. There is no Theo Riddick. Now, why is that specifically good news? Theo Riddick is the receiving back for the Detroit Lions. And with him out, what, do you think LeGarrette Blount's going to catch the ball out of the backfield? Do you think Amir Abdullah is going to catch the ball out of the backfield? I 100% doubt that. I think as of right now, Kerryon Johnson, this coming week against the Miami Dolphins, it's the breakout time. He's been good this season, right? If you have been here since the preseason, I even said, coming out of the rookie draft class, the best looking running back and the best looking running back that's going to have the most successful career, right, other than Saquon, is going to be Kerryon Johnson. Just have to go watch the Auburn versus Alabama game from last year. My goodness, he is an absolute animal. He played injured in that game. He is fantastic in the entire spectrum of being a running back. He has good vision. He has great speed. He has good cutting, right? That's in itself amazing. He can play in the passing game, which he's going to be forced to do this week because of Theo Riddick's injury. Hopefully Theo Riddick never comes back, right? For us, Kerryon Johnson owners, but as of right now, he's pretty good in the passing game. On top of that, he is a fantastic pass-blocking running back. So you have the talent. Yes, he's a rookie, but you have the talent of being able to play all facets of the position. Therefore, he should never come off the field. I understand there's a specific scenario where good old LeGarrette Blount strolls up, punches in a touchdown. That's going to happen. It's because Matt Patricia just loves LeGarrette Blount. I can't do anything about that, right? But as of right now, Kerryon Johnson this coming week is going to have a fantastic fantasy performance. I think going forward, guys, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the breakout. We'll see how this goes. All right, number 14, Matt Breida was number 10. I brought him down a little bit, brought him back down to earth. As of right now, I'm worried about his injuries, man. He's questionable and healthy. Right now, he's considered healthy. Okay, he was switched, but I guarantee you, by the time I wake up tomorrow to watch the London game at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, he is going to be questionable again. I guarantee it. So anyway, by the way, quick thing to mention, the Chargers play against the Tennessee Titans in London, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And/or for those of you out of the country, there was a person, shout out from Australia, shout out to Germany. There's a couple, Canada, I don't know, it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of you outside of the country that watch the channel. I love the support internationally. Fantastic. All right, so continuing, Corey Clement, as I mentioned earlier this week, he's fine. TJ Yeldon, for many of you that were wondering, what is going on with TJ Yeldon? What should we do with TJ Yeldon? I think this week he's still going to play. He's going to be, pretty successful. But going forward, after this week, it's over, guys. It's pretty much over. So this is your last hurrah. This is the last time that you can start TJ Yeldon, knowing fully that he is going to have every single rep at the running back position. Obviously, there's Jamal Charles here and there. But after this week, it's Carlos Hyde, and then eventually Leonard Fournette will come back, and your TJ Yeldon will eventually just be gone. And it's unfortunate, but this is the last week, guys. Get it done. All right, 17, LaShawn McCoy. 18, Mark Ingram. A little bit of adjustment. We're moving on. Latavius Murray. He is going to be playing this week. Why? Because Dalvin Cook is out again. My goodness, guys. Whew. So, coming off the best week of his entire career when it comes to yardage, he ran for 155 yards last week against, who did they even play against? The Vikings last week. They played against the Cardinals, I believe. Let's go ahead and confirm this. The Cardinals defense is so bad, though. Goodness. Did you see Patrick Peterson try to make that? Yeah, they played against the Cardinals. He tried to make that tackle. I wasn't even trying to make a tackle on Phillip Lindsay. He knew, okay, if I try to get in front of this man, he's going to run me over and embarrass me. Therefore, I'm just going to try to strip the ball. That's such bad football. God, it's just embarrassing. Anyway, he had 155 rushing yards against the Cardinals defense, which by all means is one of the worst rushing defenses in the National Football League. But here's the thing. As of right now, they're giving him, 20-plus touches a game as of last week. I think he's going to continue to run pretty consistently. I like him this week. All right, number 20, guys. Perhaps I've lost my mind. Perhaps this re-ranking has, distorted my vision, and I've perhaps gotten too much of the fantasy gauntlet into my brain. But as of right now, Kenyon Drake at number 20. I understand, okay? I might be losing my mind completely, but they play against a pretty simple matchup. They play against the Detroit Lions, who gives up a lot of points to that running back position. Hear me out, guys. honestly, I'm probably losing my mind. Okay, you'll be able to decipher whether I am or not by tomorrow's performance, but I just have a feeling he's at 20. It is what it is. It happened. I can't change it now. Number 21, number 22, Duke Johnson, Nick Chubb, two guys that I've been talking, or at least have been mentioned in my comments 100 times over the last, 36 hours at least. And for good reason, right? These two are going to be fantasy relevant. They went from being absolutely Nick Chubb went from being, hey, don't pick up Nick Chubb. He had 2 touchdowns on 3 carries in that one game. He's a bum, right? To Duke Johnson, hey, perhaps if you're in a very thin league and you have a bunch of injuries and or bye weeks, he's a decent flex play in a PPR. That's where they went from to now being, hey, you're ranked number 21 and 22 for week 7 of the fantasy season. That's a pretty big swing. And you can thank the Jaguars for going ahead or you can thank Leonard Fournette for that, okay? If you're a Leonard Fournette owner and you've somehow benefited from the Duke Johnson, Nick Chubb injury, you can kind of be like, all right, Leonard, I see you, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You've helped me out just a tad, but even though you screwed me, even though I drafted you in the first round, either way. Why do I have Duke Johnson over Nick Chubb? Because I know I'm going to be asked a specific question. I think Duke Johnson, as of right now, because of the fact that he is going to be extremely successful in the passing game, which he's been his entire career. I mean, just a couple, statistically wise, he's used to, 70 plus targets a year, 60 receptions a year. That's what he's used to. That's the kind of opportunity he's used to getting thus far this season. Throughout the 6 weeks, I think he's only had about 22 targets. I mean, on average wise, it's not great. Comparatively to what he's been doing the last couple seasons, he's obviously being held back. This offense hasn't been great this season, and I think they're going to get back to being able to use Duke Johnson exclusively to help out Baker Mayfield in the passing game. When you need to dig yourself out of holes, you need to have that, receiving back out there. I like Duke Johnson a little this week, but I also like Nick Chubb. I think the opportunity is there because the defense is very, very average, and Nick Chubb could have himself a breakout game. Therefore, he's my number 22. Number 23, Howard, Collins, Marlon Mack, Peyton Barber, Chris Thompson. We'll mention a little bit later. Adrian Peterson. Okay. Lamar Miller, Ito Smith, yeah, that's fine. Smallwood, Gore, Powell, and Crowell. Crowell, questionable. I think he's considered questionable as of right now, but here's the thing. Specifically, Crowell, yes, he may be questionable, but do you really want to start him against the Vikings defense? At best, running back 3, so that's why he's in this range. I don't personally buy into that. I'd rather play Powell this week, to be honest, because they're going to have to pass the ball in order to keep up with Kirk Cousins in that offense. Dion Lewis, Austin Ekeler, Nyheim Hines. These last couple guys, these are PPR kind of guys. Obviously, these rankings aren't half-point PPR, but everything looks fine here. I don't have any specific changes that might sway your thought process as of right now. I'll talk about Adrian Peterson and Chris Thompson a little bit later, but other than that, everything looks good. Peyton Barber, man, I cannot believe he's being ranked after having 4 weeks and only 17.1 fantasy points. It only took 1 week and playing against the Browns to change my mind. Woo. Okay, let's get to the wide receiver position really quickly. All right, Adam Thielen, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, Tyreek Hill. Still consistently same from earlier this week. I've moved up AJ Green to the number 5 spot because if I'm predicting Andy Dalton to have a fantastic game, then by all means, AJ Green is going to be he's the main benefactor to that. Therefore, he's going to move up above Michael Thomas and Mike Evans. Evans, Thomas, Hopkins seems reasonable. It's the same that it used to be. Woods, Allen, Diggs, Jeffrey, Boyd, Brandon Cooks, Jarvis Landry. All right, so then after Jarvis Landry, we have here Kenny Galladay, T.Y. Hilton, Golden Tate. Just did a little bit of switching here and there. Obviously, I had to take out Emmanuel Sanders, who had a monster game. I think he was at the number 14 spot, so I just knocked everybody up. But wide receiver-wise, nothing has really came out, at least between these wide receivers, that has changed anything specifically. So as of right now, it all looks good for you guys, so no big deal. If you need to pause the screen to look at this, go for it. But otherwise, we are moving on. All right, number 19, Funches, Taylor Gabriel at 20. Specifically, why do I have Taylor Gabriel at 20? Allen Robinson is questionable as of right now. Whether that does anything or has any sort of value, I'm not sure of. I still think Taylor Gabriel is one of the favorite targets of Mitchell Trubisky as of the last 2 games that they've played. So I'm ready. I think the speed of Taylor Gabriel and the opportunity is going to be successful against the Patriots. So I moved him up a couple notches. Sterling Shepard at 21, Michael Crabtree at 22, Edelman, who is questionable, which I'll get into a little bit later, still number 23. And he's moved up considerably because of the injury to Gronkowski, again, that I mentioned when I was talking about Tom Brady. He goes up in value. 24, John Brown. Number 25, we have Marquise Goodwin. Guys, I might be crazy, but goodness, this offense is going to be able to move the ball. I understand, the Rams defensive line looks fantastic. The team looks great, but that doesn't make them immune from, a decent NFL team. You have to understand that on the other side of the ball, there are grown men being paid millions of dollars to do the job they're supposed to do. If they're not capable of doing it, by all means, they will be fired. But as of right now, the 49ers are not pushovers. They're a team that was able to compete with the Packers, by all means, So I think this coming week, there is a good opportunity. Marquise Goodwin that has been successful. I know many of us may be thinking, okay, he only caught a couple balls for a couple touchdowns. It just means that at least the offense has him built within it. He is going to have his opportunity, and I think against this defense, this secondary that hasn't been fantastic thus far this season, he has a pretty good chance. So I moved him up to the 25 spot. Number 26, we have Marvin Jones. Again, these 3 Lions wide receivers, they're great. They're going to have opportunity. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Maybe I've perhaps ranked Stafford a little low, but then again, Kerryon Johnson's going to have himself a day, I think. So anyway, 27, Josh Gordon. 28, Allen Robinson, just a little sketchy on him with his injury. 29, Mohamed Sanu is questionable, will likely play on Monday, but just in case, let's say, for example, he doesn't end up playing on Monday. Do you have a backup for him? Do you have a guy that you can fill in at the position? I would suggest, if, let's say, for example, you have specifically a wide receiver playing in your flex position and Mohamed Sanu playing at your wide receiver 3 position, I'd 100% suggest moving that wide receiver at your flex to the starting wide receiver position and having Mohamed Sanu at the flex. So just in case he doesn't play, you can put him on your bench, pick up a tight end wide receiver or running back and play him at the flex on that Monday. Otherwise, I'm just saying he's dealing with a hip injury, which could be a big deal. But as of right now, he's expected to play, so we'll see. He's my number 29. Number 30, Jermaine Kearse, that I talked about in my Hidden Gems video yesterday. Sammy Watkins took a little bit of a dip, fell down the the ladder over here to number 31. It's just because he's the 4th option receiving-wise there. I don't know how much I can buy into that. He's had some pretty good games, and he's also had some pretty garbage games as of late. Number 32, Chris Godwin. 33, Nelson Aguilar. 34, Calvin Ridley, who should be able to play this week. Hopefully, we'll see. Again, these are guys that, if they play, they're going to be valuable. They're playing against the Giants defense, him and Sanu. They should be fine. Albert Wilson, 35. And really quickly, honorable mentions. We have Traquan Smith and Cameron Meredith. Now, why exactly are these 2 valuable? Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But for those of you looking at this, there you go. We'll get into that in a little bit, okay? Okay, the last ranking updates I want to make. I didn't do a tight end video this week. Got a little bit busy, got a little bit hectic, no big deal. I know many of you only have 1 tight end, just like I do. Like in many of my leagues, I either have Zach Ertz or I have Zach Ertz. Yes, I've taken Zach Ertz multiple leagues. Maybe perhaps I only have David Njoku or only Jordan Reed, only Greg Olsen, and I just have to start those guys, right? I don't really like rostering 2 tight ends unless one of them is an extremely young tight end that I thought about rostering Hayden Hurst, but he got injured early in the year. Like I thought about it like week 1, maybe perhaps, but then he got injured and he's been garbage since. So, but that's a different story. As of right now, the rankings we have here, it's pretty simple. Gronkowski, okay, he's not going to play. So that right there, I swear I put an asterisk next to his name. But either way, let's say, for example, he does play. He starts. But other than that, he is not playing this week from what I'm being told. He is considered doubtful. He didn't even make the plane ride over to Chicago. So chances are he's not coming out this week unless they kept him in New England to, have some treatment done later tonight in order to get him healthy and on a plane tomorrow morning. I doubt that. I 100% doubt that. But as of right now, if he ends up playing, he's my number 3. Otherwise, completely take him off this list. Other than that, Kelsey, Ertz, Ebron, must starts. George Kittle, Austin Hooper making his way up this list. Austin Hooper, to be honest, if Mohamed Sanu and Calvin Ridley do, honestly, if they don't play, which we won't know till Monday, but for those of you who are playing Austin Hooper, by all means, you are hoping that they don't play. He's had, 12 and 10 targets each of the last 2 weeks, and he's had 9 receptions each week. He has a pretty safe floor as of what he's been able to do. If he's able to string together a great third game in a row, he's a must start every single week. That's why I have him at 6. I still trust him this week because of the matchup, but hopefully he's able to put together something great for fantasy owners. 7, David Njoku. 8, Jordan Reed, which I'll get into a little bit more on the reasoning of Jordan Reed over there. 9, Evan Ingram coming off of his injury. I don't think he's going to be fantastic because of, coming off this injury and because Eli isn't, fantastic. If Eli was amazing, then I'd be like, all right, Odell, Shepard, Ingram, and Saquon can all start this week on one team, right? But as of right now, there's going to be one of these guys that doesn't have a fantastic week. It's probably not going to be Saquon Barkley that suffers, but it's going to either be Shepard, Odell, or Ingram. So we'll see how that goes. O.J. Howard at number 10. C.J. Uzomah, one of my hidden gems, at number 11. We have Trey Burton at 12. A guy just off the top of my head, because one of you asked me, what do you think about Trey Burton this week in the comment section? And I thought to myself, well, let's see what the Patriots were able to do to Travis Kelce last week. They took the number 1, by all means. He is the number 1, and he's the most talented tight end in the NFL right now. Okay? By all means, this is an objective thing. This is not opinion-wise. I 100% think many people consensusly believe that Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. And there's a lot of things to prove that, right? And just to think about, Travis Kelce was held to 5 catches, 57 yards last week. The best tight end in the NFL was held to only 5 catches, 57 yards. Imagine what they'll do to Trey Burton. I'm just a little worried about him. Number 13, Greg Olsen. Again, a guy that is coming off injury. Hopefully will be good. Cam Newton's got to find him, though. He's just not. He had 7 targets last week, 4 receptions. He's got to find the end zone, maybe. That's the difference. He's got to find the end zone. Number 14, Kyle Rudolph, who by all means has not been great as of late. I don't know about Kyle Rudolph. I really thought he was going to have a good year, but I guess this offense just doesn't want to throw the ball to the tight end position. Prior to the season, I made multiple statements saying Kyle Rudolph's going to be amazing. He's going to be fantastic. He gets his fair share of targets, right? Target-wise, 8 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 5 targets, 5 targets. Okay, these are average amounts of targets, but he's not getting as much as I thought he potentially could have. On this specific pace, he's going to, end up with about 80 targets this season, probably 55 catches. That's nothing great at all. I wanted to see 100 targets, but he's not Travis Kelce. I understand. Thielen and Diggs, they're popping off this year, so it is what it is. Number 15, Cameron Brate, if you're feeling spicy. Otherwise, O.J. Howard, somehow the machine, the Terminator 2, is back, so be careful with that. Jeff Swaim at 16 and Ben Watson at 17. Pretty standard. All right, so let's talk about Cameron Meredith and Traquan Smith, 2 guys that I wanted to mention a little bit earlier. They were my number 36 to wide receiver spot. A little bit of an honorable mention because of the fact that Ted Ginn Jr. is now done for the season. He is on the IR. This is where we begin our injury report, right? There's a lot of potential to be had here, right? Obviously, we know that Alvin Kamara and we know that Michael Thomas are going to be vital parts of the passing game for the New Orleans Saints. But on top of that, there has got to be another receiver to come up big. Let's think about it, right? Drew Brees is a quarterback that throws for 4,000, 5,000 yards a year, okay? If you have Michael Thomas that's going to catch about, 1,400 yards, and you have Alvin Kamara that's going to catch around 700-800 yards worth of passes, all right, you've still got a bunch of yards to be had. Now, who's going to step up? Who's going to be the number 2 wide receiver going forward? That's the conversation we have to have now. right? Is it going to be Cameron Meredith or is it going to be Traquan Smith? What do you think? Go down to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let's get a community, okay, you know what I'm going to do? Up there, wait. I can't do this camera thing. Up there. Somewhere up there. Okay, in the top right corner, there's going to be a little tab that comes down. It's going to say, who do you think is going to have a better year going forward, rest of the season? Traquan Smith, Meredith. Vote. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, but as of right now, I think the rookie Traquan Smith, I don't know, man. He had that one breakout game before they went on bye against the Redskins in which he had 2 touchdowns on 3 catches. Had one of those rookie games where you're like, okay, is that sustainable? Not really. But as of right now, between him and Cameron Meredith, who do I want to pick up? I personally want Traquan Smith. Now, why exactly is that? Well, I know what Cameron Meredith is going to give me. He's a known commodity. I talked about, when people asked about Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson, who do I start? I know what I'm going to get out of Duke Johnson. I don't know what I'm going to get out of Nick Chubb. He's an unknown commodity as of right now. We don't know how many touches he's going to get. We don't know if he's going to be successful within this offense. It's just all up in the air until we get, some sort of visual representation of what he's going to be. Those couple snaps he's had throughout the season, it's not a good enough sample size as of right now. But I know what I'm going to get out of Cameron Meredith. He's a bigger target, and he's a guy that's going to be able to be a red zone threat for this team. But filling in that quick, shifty spot that Ted Ginn Jr. has filled, Brandon Cooks in the past has filled, Willie Snead has filled in the past, I think, and Kenny Stills has filled in the past. There it is. Listen to this. Ted Ginn, Brandon Cooks, Willie Snead, and Kenny Stills. These 4 wide receivers, okay? What do they all have in common? They're shifty and they're really, really fast, okay? On top of that, who is over here of the 2, shifty and really, really fast? It's Traquan Smith. Period. End of conversation. I think he should be rostered. I just picked him up about 45 minutes ago, so let's just hope, people. Let's hope. All right, now, I mentioned this a little bit before, but Rob Gronkowski most likely not going to play. Josh Gordon, questionable. Julian Edelman, questionable. Where do I see this? Okay, as of right now, I think just like last week, many of you asked, Sony Michel, he has a questionable tag. What should I do with that? Many of the questionable tags that go around the league are just for precautionary measures. I think they're done just to kind of, I don't think they mean to scare us particularly, but they need to be on the injury report because, I don't know, some binding legal reasons. It doesn't really matter. Rob Gronkowski probably not going to play. Josh Gordon, Edelman will both play tomorrow, and they'll both be fantasy relevant, to be honest. There's going to be more opportunity for the wide receivers of this team and for James White. James White's going to be fantastic tomorrow. So I think going forward, what do you do for this coming week? Let's say, for example, Josh Gordon or Julian Edelman do not play. If you don't have another option on your bench and you're still looking to try to make some sort of fantasy relevant receiver from this particular game, I'd consider maybe Chris Hogan this week. He's probably sitting on your waiver wire, a guy that hasn't been great this season, but playing on the outside because of the return to Julian Edelman. That's exactly where he's comfortable. So I think there's a good chance that all of these, at least Julian Edelman and Josh Gordon both play. There's a good chance that they both play. But if they don't, just keep your eye on it. Maybe. We'll see. Either way, let's go ahead and move on. I want to talk about the running backs of the Redskins and some wide receivers for the Washington Redskins. Now, particularly, there's a lot of injured pieces within this offense. That's why I ranked Jordan Howard so high. This past week, he had 9 targets, 5 receptions. And this week against the Dallas Cowboys, I think the Dallas Cowboys linebackers, Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, unfortunately, Sean Lee's not there. But as of right now, they're decent enough to be able to cover Jordan Reed. But Jordan Reed has had some successful games against the Cowboys in the past. I think he'll be fine going forward this week. That's why I ranked him as high as I did. As of right now, what do we know? We know Jamison Crowder is for sure out. We know Paul Richardson is questionable. We know Chris Thompson's questionable. We know Adrian Peterson's questionable. The only healthy player is like Josh Doxson. And we know there's a guarantee. It's pretty strange, right? How is Jordan Reed, of all the players on the Redskins, not the one that's injured? Jordan Reed, the guy that has been injured his entire career, is somehow not injured this season. That's maybe the curse has been flipped and somebody else absorbed it. And look at the rest of his team, right? But as of right now, Chris Thompson, Okay, so as I said, Jamison Crowder is not going to play. Adrian Peterson has a likelihood, his likelihood of playing is probably higher than Chris Thompson's because considering he played last week. So I think 100% Adrian Peterson will play this week. As you saw from the rankings, I don't really trust him that much against the Dallas Cowboys defense, who has given up very few fantasy points to the running back position this year, unless it's been in the passing game. So if Chris Thompson plays tomorrow, I think he's a good flex start. But that's if he plays. Keep your eye on it. As of right now, he was able to participate in practice this week. So hopefully going forward and for tomorrow, as soon as he warms up, he's feeling better. His ribs aren't going to bother him. He'll be able to play. So other than that, let's go ahead and move on. Last thing. I know I mentioned this, but honestly, guys, I'm so disappointed with Dalvin Cook. I don't know how to express it other than, Dalvin Cook. How does this continue to happen? Because here's the thing about this. It's quite funny to a point. Dalvin Cook practices on Mondays. Well, not Mondays. He practices on Tuesdays, and he practices on Wednesdays. And he practices in full. I literally saw the report. It said, Dalvin Cook practices full on Wednesday. I'm like, fantastic. We're starting him up this week. We're fired up. It's going to be great. Then Thursday, limited. Friday, did not practice. Saturday, boom, out. What? What are they doing in Minnesota? Like, actually, what is Mike Zimmer doing? The head coach, what is he doing? Let this young man rest. Literally, why do you make him practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays if he's going to be hurt and out by Thursday and Friday? I don't understand it. Either way, Latavius Murray, as I ranked him, number 19 this week. I think he's got a very good opportunity this coming week. Otherwise, like injury, when it comes to injuries this coming week, there's not really much, right? We know about Fournette. He's going to be out. We know about Cooper Kupp. He's going to be out. What does that do? Cooper Kupp boosts the value of Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks. It shows on our rankings, Other than that, that's pretty much it, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for watching. We've been here for about 40 some odd minutes. Please let me know what you guys think about the ideas that I had earlier on in the video. Let me know what you guys think about the Traquan Smith versus Cameron Meredith showdown. Who is going to be better rest of the season? I guess we'll have a better idea tomorrow when they play the Baltimore Ravens. It's good defense, but one of them has to step up. One of them has to be the number 2 wide receiver. Because honestly, there is so much value at that number 2 wide receiver spot for a Drew Brees-led offense. It's fantasy relevant, and I think going forward, that if we can, as a group, as a community, if we can lock it down and have one of these 2 guys and end up being correct, I think we'll be good. I think it's going to be Traquan Smith, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. If you haven't yet, there's a like button down there. There's a subscribe button down there. Click them both. I appreciate it very much. And I'll see you, ladies and gentlemen, later. Good luck this weekend on your games. And don't overthink it. I understand that sometimes the questionable tags, it kind of scare you a little bit here and there. But I've done it in the past. I've heard many of you say you do it. Just leave your lineup. Don't lose your mind and go and start changing it, 5 seconds before lineup's lock. Just be patient. All will find it and work itself out. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys.